Today we're going to start a conversation that's going to take us 2 weeks to finish, and we're going to be talking about becoming new together, new relationships, new friendships, new partnerships. Because here's the reality of all of our lives that I know to be true. Show me your friends and I'll show you your future. My mom used to tell me that when I was a kid. She used to say, birds of a feather flock together. Show me your friends, I'll show you your future. And I thought she was a liar, that she just didn't like my friends at the time. So she was coming up with crafty parent-isms. And the longer I've been on the earth, the longer I found that she was absolutely true. The people that are around you are going to determine where you head in your life. Show me your friends, I'll show you your future. If you told me 5 of your closest friends in your life, and I got a chance to line them up and interview all of them and talk to them about their interactions with people, talk to them about their goals and their ambitions in life, maybe get a spiritual temperature from each of them, all of those people's and the answers to those questions would plot a place on a map, kind of a destination, if you will, that where they are headed. If I took all 5 of them and put them all on there, they'd kind of be clumped together, close together, and that determines a direction that all of those people are headed in. Show me your friends, I'll show you your future. Where they're going is where you are headed, because friends influence, friends advise, friends talk you into things. Friends talk you out of things, right? Friends have weight. They have some substance and authority when you ask them in some of the decisions that you make. So show me your friends and I'll show you which direction you're headed, your future. Friends are an important factor to take notice of in your life. And there's a good chance that not all of your friends are meant to be your friends. There may be people that you are hanging on to that you may needed to let go of a long time ago. There may have been some friends that are crowding your life. There's not even room for the things that you want anymore because they're crowded with all these other things. There may be friends in your life that you need to let go of and let go be friend to someone else. As I was preparing for this message, I asked myself the question, who was the worst friend ever? Who was the worst friend in the Bible that you could come up with? I went to Cain and Abel. They were brothers, supposed to be friends. It didn't work out well for Abel because his brother killed him. So that was a bad friendship. You had Samson and Delilah. Samson thought that this lady was going to be his friend, maybe a romantic interest. This relationship went bad quick when she stabbed him in the back, kind of tricked him, and he lost his strength. And you know how most of you guys know how the story goes. There's a guy that was an advisor to King David, kind of in the center of the Old Testament during the Chronicles time, and this guy named Ahithophel. He was his trusted advisor. David would bring Ahithophel in and say, look, I'm thinking about doing this, thinking about doing that. Give me your advice. And he was a really, really close friend. There came a revolt in the kingdom where David's son wanted to take over his throne. And Ahithophel actually traded sides, switched jerseys. Like, I'm done with David's team. I'm going team Absalom. Let's see how this works out. And it didn't work out well for him in the end. It was a bad friendship. It went sour. And so I was asking, who's the worst friend in Scripture? And I think it's, without question, has to be Judas. Has to be the worst friend, right? I mean, Jesus went and found this guy, invited him to come and change the world with him. Judas was witness to countless miracles. He was present for all Jesus' teachings, all his amazing teachings, and he sold his friend out for 30 pieces of silver. What a jerk, right? I mean, that qualifies him for worst friend ever. For Jesus. Judas was a guy who was obsessed with the money. He was the treasurer of the disciples. So any money that came into the group, he kept track of it. He kept tally of it. Judas was that friend, like when you go to play Monopoly, he has to be the banker. Anybody got one of those friends? Like, I'm the banker. If I'm not the banker, I'm not playing this game. I'll sit out. That was Judas. He had to be that guy. There was an incident where a former prostitute that had her life kind of changed because of Jesus. She comes in where Jesus is reclining back, and he's at a Pharisee's house, and he's reclining back and they're enjoying this meal, and she comes in with this box of expensive perfume, this alabaster box, and she breaks it and pours it all over Jesus. And everyone around the table is saying, why didn't she, she could have sold that. Why didn't she do something better? She could have sold it and gave the money to feed the poor or something, worthy. This is an expensive waste. This is an extravagant waste. It was actually right after that moment that Judas left the group, And he went and started a conversation with the chief priests, which in turn he would sell out to these guys so that Jesus would eventually go to the cross. It was in this moment where this extravagant waste where Judas realized we're seeing things totally different. We're on two different planes. We're going two different directions. Jesus, you're not doing things the way that they should be done. If a revolution is going to happen, we need to change some things around. You're not looking at things the same way that I am. So I'm going to go and talk to these people because I think that they actually know. Now, there is no evidence that Judas talked to the chief priests before this moment. But there had to be one of two things. He talked to him secretly and no one in the writers of the scripture knew about it. Or he witnessed things from afar and he kept in the back of his mind, okay, if I want to change some things, these are the guys I need to go talk to. One of those two things needed to happen. Now, you could say that Jesus should have unfriended this guy a long time ago. But I think it could be said for Judas just the same. Whether he had a secret relationship with these guys or it was something that he just added, you find this truth to be certain. It doesn't take long for a relationship to adjust, to affect the trajectory of your life. You can sit down with someone over a cup of coffee and internally, you make a decision if they're going to be a friend or not. You know, like just kind of over conversation. You don't say, okay, we're going to spend the rest of our lives together. But did we just become best friends? You know, it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen in that type of context. But you can see deep down, there's just this moment where you open yourself up to that person, whether it was in one conversation between Judas and the chief priests or over many that we aren't aware of. It didn't take long for Judas's life, the trajectory that he was on, to be altered because of this group of people. Now, Jesus probably should have unfriended Judas a long time ago, but for reasons that are above us, he kept him around, and the betrayal was part of the story. But Judas, just the same, should have practiced some good unfriending etiquette and let these chief priests go on and stick to it the way that Jesus was going. Solomon wrote again to his son, Proverbs 13:20. He said, walk with the wise and you will become wise. A companion of fools suffers harm. So the people you are walking with are going to affect how you see life and who you eventually become. And so I pose this question, who are you walking with? Who are you spending time with? Who have you invited into your life, whether in a small way or in a large way? Who are you walking with? Because where they're going is where you are going. Can you really go around just unfriending people like the commercial, I unfriend you? That's not how this works. That's not how any of this works, you know? Is that how we do it? Whether you unfriend someone or whether you're conscious of the relationships you have, all of these things begin with simple determinations that you and I need to make. And so we're going to go through three of these quickly. Determination number one that you need to make if you're going to unfriend someone or even just reevaluate the relationships you have is this. Number one, don't let your friends distract you from God's plan. Determine in your heart not to let your friends distract you from God's plan. And so what's God's plan? It's his path and walking it the way that he wants you to walk it. There will be people in your life that will keep you from walking God's plan deliberately or unintentionally. One way or the other, there's going to be people that are around you that are going to keep you from going how God would have you go. Jesus takes his disciples one day up to this mountain, this place called Caesarea Philippi. And it's this place where they probably shouldn't have been, but Jesus took them there as kind of an object lesson. And hey, look at this stuff. I'm going to tell you some things. And he reveals to them that he's really the Son of God. And it's this big epic moment. And the Apostle Peter, at the time, he gets the answer to the question right, whether it was dumb luck or God gave him kind of the insight. He's like, I think I got the answer. And Jesus says, right on, you got it, you made it. On the way back down this hill, Jesus says, hey, look, this is the path that I'm on. This is the direction I'm going in, there's going to be some things happen. I'm going to be handed over to these people and I'm going to suffer at their hands. They're going to kill me, but don't worry about it. I'll come back 3 days later. And Peter interrupts. I want to show it to you. Matthew 16, verse 22. It says, Peter took Jesus aside. Visualize this for a second. He's like, hold on, guys, hold on. Sorry about to interrupt you in the middle of the speech here. Jesus, can I talk to you for a second? He pulls him over. He says, he starts to rebuke him. Never, Lord. He said, this shall never happen to you. Check out Jesus' response, verse 23. Jesus turned to Peter and said, get behind me, Satan. You want to find out how to unfriend someone? Call him the devil to their face. You'll lose friends quick that way, He says, get behind me, Satan. You're a stumbling block to me. You don't have in mind the concerns of God, but merely human concerns. So about Jesus takes his buddy and calls him Satan in front of everybody. How embarrassing is that? He says, you're a stumbling block. You're actually keeping me from getting to where I need to go. I'm tripping up on you. There will be people around you that don't want you to achieve God's best for you for different reasons. And one of the reasons maybe they're on a different plan. You know, you guys were walking the road together and you thought things were going well, and then you realize you're just on different planes. You're just going different directions, different trajectories in life. You don't have the same goals, the same ambitions. This isn't a bad thing. It's just a thing where you step back and you say, hey, we're just going to different places. You may not do that in conversation. You may over time see that they continue to pull away from you, and sometimes you just let it happen. Some people will keep you from God's plan out of jealousy. They'll be jealous and envious of your success or attempt at trying to do things God's way. Your success or even movement in that direction will shine light on their lack of success or even their laziness and apathy. This will drive those people crazy. They'll grow jealous of you. They will discourage you at doing your best. Your health will shine light on their unhealthiness. Your movement will shine light on their laziness. So first, determine to not let your friends pull you away from God's path for you. Determination number 2, don't let your friends continually tempt you. Last week, we talked a ton about sin and temptation, and we kind of dove deep into that idea of living by the law or not by the law, but there's a simple determination you need to make. I'm not going to let these people that are around me tempt me into doing something I shouldn't do. There's a story in the later part of the book of Genesis. There's this Jewish boy named Joseph. He found himself in Egypt as second in command under this guy. And one day, the boss's wife grabs him, and there's nobody else around, and she kind of wants to get a little freaky deaky. She says, hey, Joe, let's make this thing happen. I want you to check it out in Genesis 39:12. It says, she caught him by his cloak. She grabs him by the jacket, Come to bed with me, she says. But he left his cloak in her hand and ran out of the house. He didn't even respond. He's like, deuces. I'm gone, I ain't going out like that. I'm not even looking back. I'm out of here, Talk about determination. He was right there. You could say no one else will ever find out. Nobody's around it. It's not going to harm anybody. They're not even really close anymore anyway. I see how he interacts with her. You deserve better. I could treat you the right way. We can make this thing happen. You don't need him. We'll keep it on the DL. We'll take him out. I'll take over. This is my perfect opportunity to make things happen. Temptation was right there, luring him in. He didn't even give it a chance. He didn't even give it a second. I'm out. Left his jacket. He just slid out of it. I love just to visualize. He's like, nope, I'm gone. Just, out of here. He was so determined to not let someone tempt him into something he would have regretted. If there's someone in your life constantly dragging you down morally or spiritually, causing your character to be in question, they aren't your friend, they are the devil. And I mean that in the least literal way possible. There's no horns and tail. They're not helping you get to where you need to go. Another determination, thirdly and lastly, is this. Another determination to make if you're going to become new together is to not let your friends keep you from loving unconditionally. Now, we say this phrase a lot. It's a church phrase now, unconditional love. What does that mean? And this may be kind of overkill, but I just want to take a second and park on that word. Unconditional love. It's love without condition. Without qualifiers. You don't need to qualify to earn my love. You don't need to prove yourself to get it. It's no condition, no conditional approval before my love can come out to you towards you. If a friend is encouraging you to evaluate your love for another person based off of their performance, he or she isn't a friend, they are a manipulator. Jesus commanded us to love one another as he loved us. John 13, he says, a new command I give you, love one another as I have loved you, so you must love one another. By this, everyone will know that you are my disciples if you love one another. So the rational question is this: how do I love someone unconditionally that hurts me? Sometimes you need to love from a distance. You don't have to be close to everyone that you love. If there's abuse involved, get out unequivocally. There's no excuse for staying around like that. I'm talking about the friend that encourages prejudices and racism and disparity and elitism and inequality and all around superiority. They aren't your friends. They are snobs looking for someone to co-sign on their arrogance. You cannot live the right life when you have the wrong friends. How do you unfriend someone? What is good unfriending etiquette? Here's 3 practical ways that we can go about doing that through our life. Such a great commercial, isn't it? First thing, to unfriend someone is this, to redefine the relationship. This is probably going to be a hard conversation. To redefine what the relationship looks like. Maybe they're good friends with you and you realize it's not working out. You guys aren't going the same direction. Maybe you need to sit down and say, hey, we need to spend less time together, or I can't go do that with you. These are some things I really need to invest in. I need to step back. You need to redefine the relationship, redefine the time you spend together, redefine the energy you spend on that relationship. If you have that one friend that is constantly having drama in their life that overflows into your life, you need to redefine that relationship. Maybe it needs a little bit of space between you and them. If you find yourself without that friend around, constantly in turmoil over their drama, then you have an issue at hand. Maybe there should be some unfriending, or maybe just redefining the relationship. I need some separation. You need to keep your drama on that side over there. You need to have maybe a few hard conversations about that. Redefine the relationship. Number 2, set boundaries, draw lines. This is a kind of a 1A a little bit to that first one. It's to draw a line. I won't go there. They're not going to come over here. I need to kind of draw some lines in my life and set some boundaries. Boundaries are a good thing. There's a small word that comes with this second one. It's a 2-letter word. It's difficult to say. It's the word no. Sometimes when drawing boundaries and setting parameters, we need to just say, nope, not going that way, not doing that thing, not going to that place. You can have it all you want, but I'm not going there. Thirdly, how to unfriend someone is to love unconditionally, but maybe that love is just from a distance. You never change how much you love. Sometimes it just changes the space and the proximity between you and that person. Just because you can't be that person's friend doesn't mean you don't love them unconditionally. There are people in my life that I wish I was close friends with. There are people around me that I wish I was closer friends. I mean, I have their number in my phone, and we're friends on Facebook, and we follow each other on Twitter, and I see their posts on Instagram, and I wish that I could engage in their life a little bit more deeply, but I can't. I don't have that much time. I don't have that much energy. I mean, I'm only human. I can only be friends with so many people, and that's okay. It doesn't change the fact that I still love them unconditionally, and I wish the best for them. I'm just not in their life, and they're not in mine, and that's okay. Sometimes it needs us to just redefine it, draw the boundary, and continue to love, but maybe just from a distance.